Okay. Right, so I'm going to share my screen. So welcome everyone. Thank you very, very much for coming. It's really nice to see so many of you. And I hope we'll have a fun class. It shouldn't last too long. It probably is just over an hour, I should think. But if you have to go, you have to go. That's absolutely fine. And yeah, feel free to do whatever you want while we're doing this. I know I've had people that have had a bath during a class before, where they're obviously turned their video off, but it's that you can just relax and enjoy it. You'll learn hopefully a lot of interesting things. So basically the aim of the class is just that you learn a little bit about essential oils and how you can use them for your health and well-being and for your emotions and things like that. And I hadn't, obviously I'll explain in a minute, but I had no idea actually how they could be used before. And so it's just kind of educating you and also empowering you to use them because they're so easy. They're much easier than lots of other ways of using them, so of using of medicine and things like that. So I'll go into all those details. But first I will briefly introduce myself. For those of you who haven't met me before, I'm Chloe, and I'm a mum of 3 young children, one of which you saw was Molly. She's my middle child and she's 3. I've also got a 5-year-old, Orlando, and I've got a little girl who's 7.5 months now and actually started crawling today, which was quite exciting. And yeah, so I'm very busy. I'm a full-time mum. I'm a stay-at-home mum. And I mean, I've always been interested in natural medicine and natural solutions. It's the way my parents brought me up as well. We had homeopathy and acupuncture and things like that. So it's always been something that's been very interesting to me. And I've really enjoyed actually looking into things and doing research on different elements of natural healthcare. And it wasn't until about 9 months ago that I actually started looking at essential oils. I never realized, I always thought they were just something to make the house smell nice, a kind of a room fragrance type thing. But actually, I did not know that you could use them in so many ways. And when I started looking into them and started trying them, I was just literally blown away by how amazing they were, basically. And since then, I haven't looked back. That's kind of all I use now. I mean, I have the odd thing. I still use a bit of homeopathy. I use arnica on my children if they fall over, bump their heads. That's amazing, and I will always use that. And various other bits and bobs that I use, but mainly I go to my essential oil box, which is just so nice. I've got my little box in the kitchen, and anything I need to do, I can get it from my box, which is really, really good. Even if it's cleaning, if it's kind of stress management, if it's an injury, if it's an ailment. So it's really, really nice to know that it's all in there. And it's very, very easy to learn. I've got a book, which is somewhere here, this one. I'll talk about it in a bit, but there's so much information in that book. It's called Modern Essentials. It's not actually a doTERRA product, but it's about all the different essential oils and the different blends, which we'll go through some of them tonight. And it's basically just so easy to use. And so, yeah, we'll go through all the uses and everything as well. I'll touch on them with you. And yeah, that's it really. I mean, as I said, I was introduced to the oils about 9 months ago, and it was actually my osteopath that showed me. She actually gave me some samples because she treats her patients using the oils. She uses one called Deep Blue, which we'll talk about in a minute, which is basically a pain blend, and she finds her treatments are so much more effective using that blend. And so she obviously loved the oils and shared them with me. And then since using them on my children, On Guard, which is another one we'll talk about, which is the protective blend, which can actually stop them from getting viruses or nip a virus in the bud straight away. I just thought, wow, I'm sold straight away, because obviously you as a mum, your children get so many colds all the time, and anything you can do to kind of help them. I'm sure you guys all know and feel my pain, especially when they start school as well. It's not ideal. So I'm basically going to just talk a little bit about essential oils, and then we'll talk a bit about safety. And then I know some of you, I think most of you have got samples from me. There's Lorraine, obviously you probably won't have, but there's a few, I think everyone else should have a sample. And Mary, I don't think you've got one either, but you'll just have to kind of pretend that you can smell the oils. Obviously, it is such a shame doing an online class because most of the power of these oils is in the smell. They literally smell alive. They're amazing. So it's one of those things that you're only getting kind of half the experience when you're not actually smelling the oils. So, but I can always definitely send you some samples if you'd like me to. That's not a problem. Right. So there's 3 amazing things about DōTERRA. Number 1 is the oils and the products are 100% pure and natural. Number 2 is that they are a great complement or alternative to normal medicine. And number 3 is that they are very cost effective. And I'll talk briefly about all these 3 things because these are the 3 kind of things that for me sold it to me anyway. Right, so let's have a look. Here we go. So yes, here we go. Just getting to grips with the whole sharing my screen. Can everyone see? You can see my screen, I take it. Yeah, brilliant. Thanks, Ashley. Right, so I'm not sure how much you guys know about essential oils, but I'll just briefly go through this because I found this amazing. I didn't know anything about this at all before I actually learned this. Essential oils are basically the immune system of the plant. And it's carbon-based and we are carbon-based. So obviously if we're taking that oil into us, our body knows exactly what to do with it because it kind of speaks the same language, if that makes sense. Whereas normal medicines, they're water-based and they're often a copy of part of the plant. Your body goes, oh, what's this? I don't recognize it. And that can often cause side effects in the body. But this is a whole complete system that your body recognizes and will know exactly what to do with. That's why they're so effective. They're the natural aromatic compounds of the plant, and they can come from, obviously, depending on the oil, they can come from the root, the bark, the stem, the petal. There's so many, doTERRA do so many different oils, and obviously they all come from different parts of the plant. They're incredibly powerful essential oils. They're like, just to give you an example, 1 drop of peppermint is the same as 28 cups of peppermint tea. So wow. You just think, wow, that's incredible. And they're about 50 to 70 times stronger than their herbal equivalent. So you've got to have a lot of peppermint tea to get the same as 1 drop. So obviously they need to be used with care, but they're very, very safe. And obviously because they're 100% natural. I'll talk in a minute about purity. Someone sorry. There we go. Oh, it's hi Mina, welcome. Sorry about the link problem. I'm glad you're on now. I've only just started, so right. So let's have a look. Right, so yes, they're very, very powerful, and they're very, very little side effects, if any. And they're not addictive as well, like normal medicines. Obviously, your body can become dependent on them. But what essential oils do is they assist your body in recovery. They kind of make it easier. So they're not treating the symptoms, they're treating the cause in your body, which is obviously what everyone wants to happen. There was someone who mentioned the other day that he'd made up a little blend of oils for his flu. I'll talk about it in a minute. It's the flu bomb. And he said he used it, and in that is oregano, which we'll talk about in a minute. And he said that it helps get rid of his flu, but also his back pain, which was amazing because oregano is a massive anti-inflammatory. So he realized it was working in obviously different ways because the body knows obviously where to put the oil where it's needed. So let's have a look. Okay. So why choose doTERRA? Obviously, I don't know how many of you have heard about it. Probably Lorraine and everyone in America would have heard about it a lot more because it's quite a new company to the UK. I think they've been here kind of just over a year, maybe 2 years. But they're very, very big in America. And they basically are aiming to, well, they do provide the world's purest essential oils. Now, it really, really shocked me completely that there are absolutely no regulations at all in the essential oil industry. You can put whatever you want in your bottle of oil, and you can call it 100% pure. So some bottles can have that 5% of the essential oil they say they are, and the rest can be fillers. So it can be things like pesticides and herbicides, other chemical fillers, or just be diluted. So there's no regulation at all. So you literally have no idea what's in your bottle of essential oil. So if you go to the high street, go to a shop on the high street and you buy your essential oil, there is no guarantee. It can say 100% pure, and obviously it can have barely any. I mean, there's a leading chemist who tests a lot of these oils. He does them for all different essential oil companies, and he was testing, or he's kind of trying to uncover the kind of fraudsters in the essential oil world. And he did some testing on some oils. I think it was a lavender oil, I can't remember, and he tested it, and there was 0% of that oil in it. They just used things that smelt similar to try and make it cheaper for them to produce. And actually, one of the girls on our team, she had that oil in her cupboard. So you think, oh my gosh, they are everywhere, but you don't realize. And you do get what you pay for, really. I mean, it's very, very difficult to find a therapeutic grade oil, especially on the high street. And they can say they're organic even, and it doesn't mean anything. And there's quite a lot of reputable, high quality, in England anyway, a chain who sell essential oils that are organic, but a lot of them are diluted. So you're not getting the purity and the potency that you need. Obviously, if you're treating symptoms and things like that, you want it to be the purest possible oil that you can. And so basically, what DōTERRA have come up with is their own testing regulations. So they call it CPTG, which is Certified Pure Therapeutic Grade. And what they do is they basically say that the oils they do so many tests. They do up to 15 tests, I think 5 tests 3 times or something like that on a lot of the oils. And every single drop that's in every single bottle is 100% of the essential oil that it says it is. So there's nothing added at all. And so obviously then you're guaranteeing that you are getting the purest oil you can, and also the most therapeutic oil you can. And obviously, if you're using them on your children, and also these oils are the only ones, which I'll talk about in a minute, that you can take internally, you want to know that they're pure. Because everything, even if you inhale an oil or you put an oil on your skin, the oil will be in every cell in your body. It will go into your cells. So obviously, if you've got the toxic, harmful chemicals and stuff in that essential oil that you're buying, they will also go in your cells. So you don't want that at all. So it's very, very important to have a pure oil. So obviously they're very, very safe, and they also obviously are very, very potent. Now that's the other side of DōTERRA that they really, really take a huge stance on. Their sourcing. So they basically source their plant. Let's go to the next slide here. This is where they source their oils from. So all around the world, they source in over 40 different countries. And basically what studies have shown that if you source an oil from its natural habitat where the plant thrives, and it comes up against the natural elements that plant is used to, it will be much the chemical profile of that plant will be much higher. Obviously the oil will be as well, than if it's grown in a greenhouse or farmed or grown on your windowsill or anything like that. So they've basically, every single oil they have found the place where this oil thrives its best. It's sourced indigenously, where it grows naturally. And therefore, that's why the oils smell so different. I mean, I don't know how many of you already smelt your oils that I sent you, but we'll do that in a minute. But you can smell, they smell different. They smell alive almost. They're amazing. And that obviously the sourcing is a massive thing, and they take so many things into consideration. They take the soils, they take the climate, the region, the altitude, even the time of day of harvesting. The people that are looking after these plants, they know them really, really well. DōTERRA have a great relationship with all their growers, and some of the growers have been growing that specific plant for generations, like the frankincense in Oman, for example. That's been grown, passed down through families, and so they know what they're doing. They know how to get the best oil. So it's a really good thing what they're doing with the sourcing. And what they also do is they have huge, like very, very strong relationships with the growers, and they're very fair. I think some of that, I think it was maybe the frankincense growers that are actually now paid 10 times more than they were before actually supplying the oils for doTERRA. Supplying the plant, the frankincense for doTERRA. So it's so nice. They're supporting everything. I'll talk in a minute about the charity work that they do. It's really nice to know that obviously your oils, not only are they helping you, but they're also helping a lot of other people that don't get much help either. But what they do, I mean, it's difficult. Some people come up to me and they say, I've tried essential oils, but they didn't work. So obviously straight away I say, right, okay, well, we need to find out, first of all, what oil did you use? So who was it made by? And where was it from? Because if it could have been grown in a farm down the road, and obviously then that wouldn't be as potent. And also how much of that oil is actually in there? I mean, they could, as I said before, be 5% or something like that. So you're not really getting the therapeutic benefits unless you know, obviously, the oil is 100%. There is also, they're very, very ethical with their sourcing. They're very aware of their carbon footprint. They don't oversource. They give back to nature. They replant. I think they're replanting trees in Somalia and Oman now for their frankincense. And if there's any negative impact on nature, they will stop straight away. So it's nice to know that they're obviously they're thinking about that side of things as well. And yeah, out of the 40 countries that you can see here, 26 of them are considered developing countries, and obviously these people are very, very poor, and often there are absolutely no, they don't have any support from anyone. Let me go to the next slide here. So this, I mean, I'm not going to, there's so much charity work they do, so I'm not going to go into too much detail, but this basically, they do a lot of helping the communities around where they grow the oils. So they, for example, where they source their vetiver, in Haiti, there was no running water in the area where they sourced it. So they built a pipeline for the villages, and now the village has running water. So they do all that sort of thing. There's another thing at the bottom there, you can see all the girls there. As part of their Healing Hands charity, they do something called Days for Girls, which basically, there's some funny traditions in some of these countries where they think that the girls, when they're on their cycle, when they've got their period, they are dirty and they should be kind of locked away and not seen, and they're unclean and all this sort of thing. And so doTERRA are going in and educating these girls about their bodies and empowering them and explaining about all these things, and also providing reusable sanitary equipment for them. So they're doing loads and loads of different things to help different communities. I mean, there's one more that I need to mention just because it always, every time I talk about it, it gives me goosebumps. But it's called the Operation Underground Railroad, which basically is stopping sex traffickers targeting children. And it's all over the world. I mean, there was something like 30,000 children at risk in the US last year, and obviously a lot of them also in the UK is a lot. And basically what doTERRA has done is they've released an oil called the Hope Oil. And the Hope Oil is, if you buy it, 100% of the price, not just the profits, 100% of the price goes to this foundation to help this with stopping the sex traffickers. And what they've done is they've also, under the label of the Hope Oil, they've put a helpline number, and they've handed those oils out to all the children that they think are at risk of being targeted by sex traffickers. And they have given them to these children, and then the children can call this helpline, and actually it's led to a lot of arrests. So it's been really, really good. And so that's really one, I think that is just such a nice thing that they can do. But yeah, so yeah, I won't talk. There are so many different things, and if you're interested in this thing, and also the sourcing, as I mentioned before, there's a great website called Source to You. So if you go and have a look, I think it's sourcetoyou.com. There's all the information about the charity work they do, the sourcing, also the CPTG. You can also check at the bottom of each bottle, I don't think you might not be able to see this, but there's a lot number on there, like a serial number. You can type that in and you can see all the testing that specific oils had. Because the testing is what doTERRA stands apart from the others. No one else can or will go to that standards because they just can't. So you can they're very transparent in what they're doing. So it's very nice. Right, let's see what's next. Right, so the next amazing thing is that they're a fantastic complement or alternative to the normal medicines that you use. Now, obviously, the NHS, which, Lorraine, is our health service in the UK, if you don't know, the NHS is obviously amazing. It's really good, and I'm so glad that we've got that, and we're very, very lucky. But I mean, as a mum, for me, it's really, really nice to know that there are natural alternatives out there if my child isn't well. So instead of straight away reaching for the Calpol or straight away getting a Gaviscon or something like this, there are other alternatives, and actually there's so many different things that they can be used for. So for example, antibiotics, for example, obviously they do have their place and they can save lives, totally. But I think there's an awareness now. People are starting to actually look for an alternative now, because there's these superbugs and there's these antibiotic resistant bacteria, and it's actually nice to actually know that there is something out there that you can use that's safe and natural and doesn't have side effects and doesn't mean you're putting chemicals in your body all the time. And I mean, there's a doctor on our team, for example. She's I don't know how long she's been involved with the oils, but she at her surgery, a lot of the people that come into her have a virus, and she says there's nothing we can do, I'm afraid. You have to go home and rest and because antibiotics can't get rid of a cold or flu or anything like that. And so, but that's the exciting thing about essential oils. They because they are fat based, obviously, they're oils. They can go through. I'll show you this a little. Here we go. This is a cell here with it, and a cell has a kind of fatty lipid layer around it, which normal medicines, which are water based, cannot penetrate. So you take an antibiotic for a cold or flu, the medicine's going to sit outside the cell, so therefore it's not going to attack the virus at all. So that's where essential oils are amazing. They can penetrate the lipid layer, the cell membrane, and go into the cell and kill the virus. So that's just really, really good. And obviously, if it is something like cold or flu, you're kind of helpless with normal medicine. So that's, for me, when I use these oils most, is when my children are coming down with something. It's really, really nice to know there's something there you can use. And yeah, I mean, this is nothing new though. I mean, plants have been used since the beginning of time as a medicine. But I think there is an awareness growing now, and people are kind of looking for a different alternative. And now, obviously, because essential oils are so effective, I think it will just grow and grow and grow, which is great, because it's so nice to help people by sharing these oils and actually then watching them work. That's one of the amazing parts of my job. You just get these amazing reports of it worked. I didn't expect it to, but it did. So it's really nice. So yeah, also what I was saying before about them being really easy to use. Basically in this book here, which has, so this is the Modern Essentials one I was talking about. What you do is you look up an ailment. So say, for example, you have a cold, you could look up a cold in there, and it would give you kind of 3 or 4 different oils you could use. And you don't have to use them all together. You could kind of have a look along the line to see which one you've got and then try that. Because obviously everyone's different. So someone might react perfectly to one oil and someone else might not get results with that and they might need something else. So everyone's different. But in the book, it says how to use that oil, how often to use it, and lots of other tips. And in there also, for any of you skeptics out there, because a lot of people think, oh, it's all hocus pocus, it's all kind of witchcraft, weird stuff, but actually it's science. I mean, there's so many scientists within doTERRA and doctors, as I mentioned before, and it is science. And in the book, all the different things that they've got in there are backed up by little studies, and there's a little snippet after each oil, which basically says about all the different tests that have been done. And there are also a lot of academic papers you can look at online. There's a website called PubMed, which has all these studies that have been done, and there's lots and lots with essential oils. So it's definitely worth looking up if you're feeling skeptical, or if you are kind of want to know more. It's really good. Right, so, okay. So I'm losing my notes here now. Okay, and let's have a look. So the next great thing about the oils is, I mean, I don't know, for me, I was always one of those people that I would never question going. I would go out and I would buy shoes, or I'd buy a handbag, or I'd spend money on an expensive meal, all those sort of things without thinking. But I find like now sometimes we question things that are actually very beneficial for our health. So it's one of those things that you actually think, is it going to work? What's going to happen? All that sort of thing. And you question it, which is completely normal. And obviously that is price is a big factor in healthcare. And I think obviously, especially in America as well. And obviously we're lucky, as I said before, to have the NHS in the UK, but it is still costing us money. I mean, it costs you money when you have to go to take the day off work. If your child is ill and you have to take the day off work. I mean, even driving to the doctors costs you money. And actually, would it cost you more money to drive to the doctors than one drop of essential oil? Probably, yes. So it's definitely worth looking at. And doTERRA oils are more expensive than other essential oils, but I mean, hopefully now already during this class, you'll understand why they are more expensive and why they are more special. And obviously there is a big difference, but they are worth every penny. So yeah, for example, if you had, say you had a headache, for example, one drop of peppermint, it was about 12p. And the other option is having hang on a minute, no, that wasn't, sorry, peppermint, you could use for a headache, or you could use for something like some tummy problems like indigestion, something like that. The peppermint's very, very good for the digestive system. And a Rennie tablet, for example, for indigestion would be like 14p, and peppermint's 12p. Or for something like hay fever, allergies, I mean, it's a lot of people I know, they want to avoid the normal medication because it makes you drowsy, and you're filling yourself with chemicals again. And there's something that we call the allergy trio, which is lemon, lavender and peppermint, and that is incredibly effective at treating any sort of allergies and any sort of hay fever. And for those 3 drops, it's about 20p, but a normal allergy tablet is about 40p. So you really are saving money with them. And then, so that it is definitely value for money. Right, so those were the 3 amazing things. So the oils they're 100% pure and safe and natural. They're a great alternative or a side to normal medicines, and obviously they're also very cost effective. So right, let's move these out. So in a minute we'll get to try your oils. I'll just briefly explain a couple of things. So there's 3 ways to use the essential oils. Aromatic is the first one, and there's various different ways within aromatic. I'll just quickly mention now, this is I'm wearing here is a diffuser necklace. I don't know if you can see, probably not. It's in there is a little pad that you drop oils onto, and you can basically, I'll show you, it's like that. You drop oils on there and you can carry them around with you all day, and you can just smell. So it's a really nice way. Also, they make lovely gifts. It's a really nice way to have an oil with you all day. And they also do a bracelet as well here, which is that this is lava beads, so they're porous beads that you can drop the oil onto and carry them again with you all day. But the great thing about using oils aromatically is that they go straight into the limbic system in your brain, which processes your emotions and your memories. So it's very, very good to be able to you can completely change a mood just by diffusing something in your house. So if your kids are running around crazy, you can use something really calming like lavender and actually get them ready for bedtime, kind of calm them down a bit, which I do regularly. Or if you want to concentrate, you can use something like lemon, which could help you study or help you at work. I've got, this is a diffuser here. Let me show you. You can see this is called a cold water diffuser. I'm actually diffusing something called spearmint. I don't know where, yeah, spearmint oil at the moment, which is the oil of confident speech. So trying to help me with the class. It's all the oils have emotional properties as well, so I can briefly touch on them. So what happens with a cold water diffuser is you add some water into it and then a couple of drops of your oils, and it basically put the aromatic compounds spread out into the air. So it's very important not to heat these oils, because their therapeutic benefits actually diminish if the oil is heated. I know a lot of people use oil burners and things like that, but actually you won't get any of the medicinal benefits of these oils if you burn them. So cold water diffuser is really good, and the diffusers by doTERRA are made of a special plastic that doesn't denature from the oils, because there are obviously I'll explain again in a minute, but the oils can actually, if you put them in plastic, they can actually take the toxins out of the plastic, and obviously if you're consuming them or breathing them in, it's not a good thing to have. So these are very, very, very special diffusers that have been made specifically so that they're not harmful in any way. So yes, they, as I said, for emotions, they're very good for diffusing, but also to purify the air. So often there's a lot of airborne pathogens. There's a blend called On Guard, which we'll talk about, which actually you diffuse in the air and it kills any airborne pathogens. So it's great to have on if you've got kind of snotty friends coming around or something like that. Or great to take into hospital with you if you're having an operation, things like that. My brother did that recently. He had a back operation and he took his diffuser and On Guard and had it with him all the time, which was good. And yeah, as I said, there's also the necklaces that you can use. They're really, really good to use. Right, so the next one is topical, and basically this is when you can apply it directly to an ailment. Say you had a bad shoulder, or you had a spot, or I don't know, a verruca, or whatever it was. You can apply it directly to the area of problem. Obviously, anywhere that you put the oil, and whether you take them internally or inhale them, they will get to every cell in your body. And actually, if you put them on your feet, which is the fastest way into the body, within 20 seconds, they're in your bloodstream. And in 20 minutes, they're in every cell in your body. So they're incredibly fast acting, and they work very, very quickly. So feet is a very good place to start, especially for beginners or people with sensitive skin or children. Really, really good, because the pores are the largest, and obviously it comes into the body the quickest. But also you won't have any skin sensitivity on the bottoms of your feet at all. And obviously with dilution, with children, we always recommend dilution. Again, that book is really good. It will explain kind of how to dilute, because obviously everyone's different, and a newborn baby needs barely anything, whereas an adult might need a little bit more. So we always recommend dilution and just kind of see how you go. I mean, I don't dilute the oils that much for myself anymore, because I know my skin sensitivity. But there's certain hot oils that we would say always do dilute. Right, so internal. Now, the most exciting thing about doTERRA oils specifically is that they are, you can take them internally. They are so pure. They're the only oils that we can guarantee are 100%, as I mentioned before. So I would say do not take any other oils internally, because you don't know what's in them, and obviously you don't want to take that into your system. But yeah, so these, you can use them in many, many ways internally. I love putting them in smoothies and juices and cooking, raw chocolates and things like that. You can add them to yogurt. So like the wild orange is amazing in yogurt. You can add them to drinks, like the citrus oils. There's grapefruit is amazing. You've obviously got a wild orange, which we'll smell in a minute. But wild orange, citrus, or lemon, bergamot, any of those citrus ones are lovely in fizzy water. It's just like having a kind of a nice fresh drink, but without the sugar, which is really good. And obviously you're getting the medicinal benefits from them as well. The other way, let me show you, we've got the other way you can take them internally. Here we go, is in one of these. Now this is an empty veggie cap. You just basically put a few drops of the oil and then you can take it internally. Now this is really, really good for if you've got something like, say you had a tummy problem, or something you really wanted the oil to get directly to, obviously if you drunk it in water, it might kind of disperse a little bit down your throat, so you'd want it to go directly into the gut, and that's where it would, like for a parasite or something like that, that's the best way to use it. And there's an amazing like recipe, because you'll find as I go through, I'll explain about different recipes. There's loads of different things you can kind of mix the oils for and have little, like there's a flu bomb, there's a cold one, there's the allergy trio, all those sort of things. There's so much to learn, it's really fun. But there's one that's it's quite famous within the doTERRA world, called the flu bomb. And basically it's lemon. We'll talk about all the different oils individually actually tonight, but it's lemon, frankincense, melaleuca, on guard, and oregano. And you put a couple of drops in that capsule and take it internally, and that's what you need to do if you feel like you're coming down with something. And 9 times out of 10, I haven't fully had a cold or flu, because it's just done the job straight away. But I'll talk about that more in a minute anyway. But that's how you can take them internally. And actually, we are taking essential oils internally every day without even realizing it. Did you know Coca-Cola has essential oils in it? Not that I'm suggesting in a health and wellness class that you drink Coca-Cola, but there are essential oils in there as well. A lot of people just don't know. So they are being taken internally regularly anyway. But some people would prefer not to, and that's completely fine. So it's completely up to you. You kind of have to feel your way with these oils, whatever you feel comfortable. And children don't take them internally. It's only for adults. So yeah. I've got a drop of grapefruit in my water here. Very delicious. Right, so okay, if we get your oils out. So sorry for the people that didn't have any oils, but you'll just have to bear with us for a minute. So the ones I sent wild orange and also peppermint here. So what I'm going to get you to do, if you take the lids off, and what we're going to do is we're going to put 1 drop of orange in one hand, and then in a minute we'll put a drop of peppermint in the other hand. So just put 1 drop in here. This one's very, very low, so I might have to, sorry, you might have to do a couple of taps on yours, because they're not that easy to get out. So if you have a smell of the orange, orange is such a lovely one. It's great for anxiety. It's really, really calming. And it's one that I think the children are most drawn to. It's sourced from the Dominican Republic, and it's such a lovely citrus oil. Oh, so nice. Anyway, so then if you put a drop of peppermint in the other hand, just careful because peppermint's quite strong, and have a smell of that one. Oh, now peppermint is it's so nice. Peppermint is all things cooling. It will really wake you up as well. It's a stimulant, so you can have this in the afternoon instead of a coffee or a glass of wine or something that if you want to keep going, or your chocolate. So it's really, really nice to use. But if you now put rub both hands together, and then cup your nose and mouth and inhale deeply, but just don't get it in your eyes because it's quite strong. It's such a lovely, you can really feel it. You should feel it open, completely open all your airways and open right through your sinuses. And you should also feel the lovely fresh citrus, uplifting citrus oil as well. When you've done that, you can also rub it on the back of your neck, because peppermint is amazing for releasing any tension, anything like that. So it's really good there to do that. Right. And yeah, in a few minutes you should feel it will start to feel really cool. But it's great for any muscle aches or anything like that. Amazing for headaches as well. But I'll talk a bit more in detail about peppermint in a minute. Orange, as I say, is great in fizzy water. You can add it to yogurt. It's really nice for that. Great in raw chocolates as well. Really nice one. Okay, so now let's have a look. So I'll briefly talk a little bit about safety. Now, obviously, these oils are incredibly powerful, so we do need to be careful. They are very gentle if they're used right, but they are very, very powerful. So we do need to make sure that we're careful as well. So what we generally say is don't put any oils in your eyes or in your nose or in your mouth. Not your mouth, sorry, your ears. And just because, yeah, we don't put them anywhere in those places. And if they do get in there, what you need to do is get a actually any oil is fine to get out. So you could use olive oil, you could use anything you've got to hand. What I use is fractionated coconut oil, just for generally for use with the oil, so for diluting and things like that. But you would use this to remove an oil if it was too strong on your skin, or if it was in your eyes or your ears or your nose and it was just too strong. You would add a bit of that and then it will just disperse it. That's fine. Don't use water, because water will just drive it deeper into the skin, because oil and water don't mix. But you, as I say, you could use olive oil or anything like that would be absolutely fine. There is also I'll go briefly into obviously follow all the instructions and keep them out of reach of children, because children are very drawn to these oils. I mean, my children love it, and Molly for some reason is obsessed with fennel. I don't know why, but she always says, "Can I smell the fennel?" But they're very drawn to it. They kind of almost know what they want as well, which is quite worrying. This also, with the oils, as I explained briefly before, is they actually can go into, when I talk about lemon in a minute, I'll briefly explain, but you mustn't use them in a plastic bottle, because they will actually draw out the toxins from the bottle and they will go into the water. So you need to use them in a glass or stainless steel bottle. What I do is I add a couple of drops to a bottle of water in the morning, and that will be what I use throughout the day. And it's good to, mine's a stainless steel one, but yeah, just don't use them in plastic if you can help it. Also, some of the citrus oils, so grapefruit, lime, orange, lemon, bergamot, all those ones, are sensitive to the sunlight. So if you put lemon all over your face and went and lay in the sun, probably not that likely in the UK, but you could get some skin sensitivity or kind of burn. Same would go for sunbeds actually as well. So just be careful. Don't apply them topically on your skin and then lie in the sun or go on a sunbed. So just be aware of that. But other than that, they're very, very safe. There's no side effects, and yeah, you just have to be careful. That's all. Right. Okay. So this is a quick thing before we actually start talking about the oils, the 10 oils we're going to talk about tonight, these amazing 10 oils. I just briefly want to mention, this is a wellness pyramid. And this is basically, doTERRA is primarily, it's a wellness company. And so they don't say like, oh yeah, don't worry, you can drink what you want, you can smoke 50 cigarettes a day, don't worry about exercising, but use these oils and your life will be amazing. They don't say that at all. It really is a combination of things. So at the bottom here we've got eating right. So I mean, this is one of the things I thought my diet is, well, I think my diet is actually very good. I eat mainly organic, I eat mainly in season, and I try and get as much local food as possible. Don't eat huge amounts of meat, but unfortunately most of our diets are actually deficient in some way because the soils are so depleted. It's so sad, but it's actually true. The soils are so depleted, so the nutrients we're getting in our food are so much less. And someone told me the other day, this is a horrific fact, that if you were to eat an apple in the 50s, to get the same amount of nutrition as an apple that you would have eaten in the 50s, you would have to eat 26 apples. I thought, oh my God, that's so depressing. But obviously it's true. It's just the amount that everything's over farmed and you're just not getting it, which is really unfair. And also a lot of the food that we have is stored for months and months and months. So obviously it's not in its prime at all. So a lot of us are deficient, unfortunately. The next thing is exercise. Exercise, obviously, it's not, you don't have to be completely crazy and do a huge exercise regime. It's just moving every day. It's just a little bit every day. And walking is amazing. Walking is so good for you if you can do it. It's really, really good. Right, and then stress, unfortunately, again, stress causes inflammation in the body, and inflammation, it causes disease. So most diseases in the body are caused from stress. So obviously it's really managing that and trying to reduce your stress as much as you can. And then your toxic load. I mean, again, sadly nowadays everything is so toxic. Even if you're leading a clean lifestyle, there's toxicity everywhere. I think it's the US Environmental Agency did a study, and they said that the average home is 200 to 500 times more toxic inside than the air outside. And I thought, oh my God, that's horrific. And it's things like beauty products, cleaning products, all those things that we just take for granted and we just buy them. We don't even realize they're actually bad for our health. I will talk about cleaning products actually, because that's one of the things I use the oils for loads. And I've basically completely changed my cleaning routine. I don't buy any products now. I make them all, and they're cheaper and they're nicer, and my children can use them. My daughter can help me cleaning the bathroom, for example, without me worrying about what she's breathing in. But I'll talk about that more in a minute. So briefly, just to touch on the eating side of this. There is an amazing product that doTERRA do, which is actually their #1 selling product, and which I thought was bizarre over all the oils. And these are supplements, and they're 3 bottles of supplements. I'll briefly go into details about them, but they're so confident that you'll love them that they give you a 30-day money-back guarantee. If you don't like them, or you don't notice a difference, they will give you your money back. You just send them back the empty bottles. So for me, that was kind of I was like, why not? I'll try them. And since then, I love them. They're really, really amazing. So the first one is the Food Nutrient Complex, which is which is basically vitamins and essentials. It's basically stuff that you can't get from your food anymore. So superfoods. There's lots of. Have I got them here? Let me have a look. There's lots of really amazing things in here. So there's kale, dandelion, parsley, sprouts, broccoli, spinach, loads and loads, cabbage, loads and loads of stuff, the superfoods that you're not getting in your food nowadays, even if you eat a good diet, unfortunately. And then the other thing in there, you're also getting a lot of antioxidants as well, which obviously really helps your body to keep healthy. And the good thing about them also is that they're all bioavailable. So your body, a lot of supplements you buy, you take them and your body doesn't know what to do with them. So you just weed them out and then you've wasted the money. But with these, they're bioavailable, so your body knows exactly what to do with them as soon as they take it. And they're also all in the perfect balance. They're in exactly the right balance for your body. The next one is the Omegas, which is this one here, and this also has an essential oil blend in it, which has 9 essential oils. So clove, frankincense, thyme, peppermint, ginger, cumin, orange, German chamomile, and caraway. So they're kind of all really a lot of them are kind of tummy taming ones as well, so it helps with digestion and that sort of thing. Clove actually is the highest antioxidant in nature. It's like 300 times stronger than blueberries or something. So that's a very, very good one for immunity and helping your immune system. That's a really good one. And then the last one is the CRS, alpha CRS blend ones, which are basically to help boost your cells. It boosts the mitochondria in your cells, they're like the powerhouse, the engine of your cells. So they're really, really good for energy. I mean, I've heard so many amazing stories about people who've had no energy and they've taken these. And I mean, there was a lady on our team actually she had chronic fatigue to the point where she couldn't get out of bed. She was in a wheelchair and her partner had to dress her and wash her and all that. And she took these supplements and she took frankincense, and within a year she was up and about, and now she's actually doing this doTERRA business as well. So it's amazing what changes you can see. But I hear about it all the time. Another lady had anxiety, terrible anxiety, and she started on these, and within a few weeks she just felt so much better and had so much energy. But yeah, they're definitely worth having a try. I love them now. I take them regularly, so they're really good. Right, so now we can go on to our class. Let me just make sure I've got everything ready. Yeah. Right, so I'm going to briefly go through these oils. Now these are there's 6 single oils and 4 blends, and they basically make up the various kits, and we'll talk about those afterwards. And I'll just briefly touch them. There are so many essential oils that I could talk about, but we would literally be here till tomorrow. So I'm just going to choose these 10 because these are the most popular ones. And actually, with these 10 oils, you can treat over 300 ailments, which I was like, wow, that's amazing. So they're very, very, very useful. So, right, the first one, is lemon. I don't need to show you all of them. I've got a picture on there, that's fine. So lemon's actually the one I use for cleaning the most. I mean, I use so much lemon because it's great for cleaning your house, but it's also great for cleaning your body. So if you have a drop of lemon in the morning in water, it's a great way to start your day. It basically detoxifies. So it goes in your cells. Unfortunately, everyone has petrochemicals that are stored there, just from just the life we live. Unfortunately, everyone does. It's just the way it is. And your body stores them in the fat cells to protect the organs. And so what this does is the lemon goes into the cells and it clings onto the petrochemicals and moves them in safe amounts. So yeah, it will hold onto them and you can release them. Not all. If you did it all in one go, you would die. So the lemon does it in a very, very small way. So that every day is really good. And in turn, obviously, if your fat cells are being completely detoxified, then there's not so much reason for them to be there. So that's also why it's a great one for weight loss. So lemon is really, really good. It's also amazing for balancing hormones. So if you anything like that, menopause, any sort of PMS, anything like that, it's really, really hormone balancing. So it's a great one to use. Great for a sore throat as well, in a spoonful of honey. That's what I've done many times. But in my house, all I add is I add about 5 drops to a glass, if you can use a glass bottle, a glass spray bottle, and with some white wine vinegar, and fill the rest up with water. And that is my multi-purpose spray, because it's antibacterial and it kills everything. I actually also do one with On Guard, which I'll talk about in a minute, which is really amazing. But lemon is great for cleaning. It's amazing for getting off sticky labels. It's great for cleaning windows. You can pretty much use it. It's a great freshener as well. If you want to, sometimes if I cook fish in my house, it stinks of fish afterwards. So I put it in the diffuser, and it just completely clears the air. So it's a really nice, good one to use. And it's sourced from Sicily, and it just smells amazing. It's I think it's their most popular oil, actually. It's really, really lovely. Peppermint, which you guys got to smell before, is a really, really lovely one. It's very stimulating. As I said, it's great if you're feeling a slump in the afternoon, just to kind of have a drop of peppermint in your mouth or in a glass of water. It's easier than having a packet of biscuits or a coffee or something like that. It's also amazing for headaches. Now this one, I make a headache blend, which is peppermint and lavender, and you can just apply it to your temples and the forehead and the back of your neck, and it's really good for that. I mean, you might feel now that the back of your neck is slightly cool, and that's kind of what it does. So it's really good. It's in quite a lot of the blends as well. It's really good for any sort of muscle problems or any tension. Really nice one to use. It's also great for cooling. If your child's got a temperature, you can just rub it up and down their spine, and it will really bring their temperature down. What else do we use it for? You can diffuse it in a diffuser, and it will. It's a great one for just kind of keeping you awake. Really nice one. Great in raw chocolates as well. You can also add it to drinks as well. It's really, really nice. And someone told me the other day that actually you can, it's great to ward off sugar cravings. So if you're thinking, oh, I really need those biscuits, just again, drop in your mouth and you'll suddenly think, no, I don't need that anymore. And another thing that's quite good is it's great for getting rid of mice or any house pests, mice, spiders, ants, anything like that. They can't stand it. So just kind of either diffuse it or put a few drops where you don't want them to go, and you will not see them. So that's often quite an attractive part of it for a lot of people. It's sourced from Washington. This one, actually in America, that's where it grows indigenously and is the most therapeutic that they found. Right, lavender. So I'm sure if you have a bottle of essential oil, I'm sure you have lavender. It's probably the most popular one in the world, I should think. And it's all things calming. It's calming for you and it's calming for your skin. It's an amazing one for anxiety. They've actually done studies that show that it actually reduces cortisol levels, the same as an anti-anxiety medication. So it really is a great one to use. We often diffuse it in our house. It's great also for calming children down. Add it to a bath if you want to wind the children down a little bit. Anything that helps. You can also put it on their pillow, you can diffuse it in their room, you can put it on their feet. I've made a rollerball of lavender that I've just put on their feet before they go to bed, and it's really, really calming. Also, I mean, another thing I've done, which actually I did at Christmas, which is really nice, is it's great to make gifts. I got some Kilner jars, and I put in some Epsom salts and added some drops of lavender and a handful of dried lavender, and just put a ribbon around it, and that was everyone's gift. So lavender, Epsom salts, really easy, really cheap, and really lovely. People were like, wow, how nice. So it's very easy to make gifts, and lavender is such a lovely one. Everyone loves lavender pretty much. So, but yeah, for skin, it's also really, really good. My children have actually, they're just finishing chicken pox, hooray. At the moment, I'm glad they've had it over Christmas because they didn't miss any school. But they've had it, and as soon as the spots came out and they started saying, oh, I'm itchy, I got my lavender rollerball and I put it over their spots, and they did not complain at all. So anytime they said, oh, it's a bit itchy, straight away, because lavender gets rid of itching. So any problems, whether it's an insect bite, whether it's dry skin, itchy skin, lavender saves the day. My daughter, actually, we went camping in the summer, and she was walking around, we were in a field, and she was walking around with bare feet, as you do camping in the summer, and I suddenly heard her cry, and I went over, and a bee had stung her on her foot, and she was really crying. So I got the lavender, I put one drop on, and within 5 minutes she was up and running around again as if it had never happened. So it's amazingly powerful, but it's great for any sort of insect bites, any midges, all that sort of thing. It stops all the itching. Also just really nice for skin in general, very calming. Yeah, so it's a really good one. It stops bleeding as well. So yeah, if your child has a cut or something, you can put some lavender on it and it will stop the bleeding. And yes, it's sourced from Bulgaria, lavender. So yeah. Also, actually, if you diffuse it, it's the oil of communication. So as well as being calming, it's also emotionally it can help you to kind of say things that you would struggle to say, like kind of your truths and values that you have issues with saying. It kind of can help you to find a way to say that. So that's quite a nice way of looking at lavender. Now, melaleuca, this is also known as tea tree oil, and this is sourced from Australia. And this is basically first aid. It's an amazing oil. There's so many things you can use it for. Anything. It's antibacterial, it's antifungal, it's antiparasitic. So anything fungal, like athlete's foot or thrush or anything like that, you can use melaleuca for, and it's really, really effective. It also things like eczema. You could mix this with lavender and put it on any eczema. It's really, really good. And also earache. If you were to put a drop of melaleuca and a drop of lavender on a cotton bud, because you can't put oils into the ear, you put it on a cotton ball and you just put it over the ear. And I've had so many stories. I haven't actually tried it on my children because they haven't had earaches yet, but I've had so many stories of within, like, they just put the kids back to bed in the morning, they're fine. So it's really, really good. It's known as the oil for drawing things out. So it's really good. It kind of draws the infection out. It's also great for getting splinters out, and also really, really good for spots. So if you had any spots, you can kind of draw out all the yucky stuff and get rid of them and dry them up. So it's really nice. Also amazing for nits. I mean, I don't know how many of you have kids, but obviously, that dreaded when they've got nits type thing. With this, you can actually, if they do have nits, you can treat it with melaleuca. You just add a drop to their shampoo, or you can use it as a preventative. So you can put a drop on their heads when they go to school, or make a spray, and the nits will not go near it. They cannot stand it. So it's really good to know, because those other things that you can treat your kids with are just horrible. So that's a nice one. I shall be using that definitely when I get to that point with my kids. And yeah, it's just, for me, it's just really nice to know that I don't have to use Calpol, and I don't have to call the doctor or take them to the doctor. I can just use these things, and 9 times out of 10 they work. And if they didn't work, then I would go to the doctor. But it's just nice being able to call on this first. For me, that's what I'm finding. Right, I think that's it for melaleuca. So the next one works hand in hand with melaleuca. this is oregano. Now this is a very hot oil. It's one of the hottest oils. Do not use this neat on your skin, especially initially. It's actually great for treating things like warts and verrucas and things like that. It's also great for the immune system. So this is the one that is the powerhouse. It's called the big guns. It's actually 5 times stronger than penicillin. So it's great. This is nature's antibiotic. So this is the one that's in the flu bomb that will actually do the killing of the bacteria, of the virus. So this is a one that's used a lot around this time of year. And obviously you can take it internally in a capsule in the flu bomb, or you can just put it on your feet. Now it's so strong that you actually mustn't take it for more than 7 days in a row, because it actually will deplete all the good bacteria in your gut. So you have to have a break after 7 days, and you could go to something like Melaleuca, and then you could come back to oregano if you still needed to use it. What was I going to say? Yeah, so you can do it. You can use it for so many. You can also use it in cooking, but don't add too much. 1 drop would make your whole pasta sauce taste of oregano. So you literally need a cocktail stick swirl, and that's it. And then that's all the flavoring you need. But it is a very, very good oil, and really good for things like parasites as well. It's really nice. Right. So now Deep Blue. We're onto the blends. Now Deep Blue. You kind of think Deep Blue, deep pain, and it actually is blue because there's an oil in it called blue tansy. So it's got wintergreen, camphor, peppermint, ylang ylang, helichrysum, blue tansy, chamomile, and osmanthus. And this is such an effective oil. This is actually the oil that my osteopath uses on her clients. They also make it in a rub, which is exactly the same. It's a few drops of the oil. It's more than a few drops, but it's the oil mixed with a kind of a rub that basically makes it really easy to apply. So she uses this on all her patients, and she absolutely loves it. So it's amazing for any sort of pain. So whether it's back pain, whether it's muscle or joints or nerves or anything like that, you can apply this for Deep Blue. I would suggest applying it exactly to the area of pain. Rather than diffusing it or taking it. You can't take it internally, this one actually at all. So it's got a different shaped lid, just to tell you can't take it internally, because the wintergreen in here is just very, very strong. But yeah, any sort of pain, you can use it for a headache, you can use it for any after a workout. You can also use it for period pain, anything like that. Growing pains, it's really good. My son sometimes wakes up in the night and I just put a diluted drop on his legs and he can go back to sleep, which is really nice. Great one for a massage, yeah, as I said. And yeah, I mean, it's just a great all-rounder, that one. It's very, very popular and it's very effective. Within 20 minutes, normally at a class, we would offer you the Deep Blue rub at the beginning, and you would, within 20 minutes, generally, most aches and pains you'll feel have massively subsided. So it's very effective. Right, Breathe is the next one. Now, this is an amazing oil. There's so many stories about this oil. I don't know. It's got laurel leaf, eucalyptus, peppermint, melaleuca, lemon, cardamom, and ravintsara. And yeah, I'll share one story about a girl who's on our team. Before she was introduced to the oils, when her son was born, he was born with loads and loads of allergies, and he always suffered. And he had like terrible eczema initially, and then terrible asthma, like really, really bad, to the point where he was having an attack a week, and he would have to be hospitalized, and he was given steroids and all these terrible things. And when she was looking for everything. She was very, very empowered and very informed, so she was looking at every possible way she could help her son, that wasn't using the normal, obviously, the steroids and those sort of things. And she came across these oils, and she tried Breathe, and what she did is she diluted a few drops of Breathe and put it on his chest and his back, and layered it over with frankincense, which I'll talk about in a minute, because frankincense can actually magnify the effect of the other oils. And she diffused it in his room every night, and she noticed that his attacks got less and less, and she thought, oh, he hasn't had one for 2 weeks, but I'm not going to jinx it, I'm just going to see what happens. And then time went on, and after about 3 months he still hadn't had another attack. And they had an appointment with a specialist, and he went and he listened to his lungs, and he said, he has a completely different set of lungs. What have you done? And she explained what she was doing with the breathe, and he said, whatever you're doing, keep going, because it's amazing. He has had so much change in that, and so she just keeps doing it. So I think I just love that. And I've heard so many stories about it with asthma. It's very, very effective to use, but it's also amazing for anything for clearing the airways. So for example, colds, coughs, sinusitis. Again, I had sinusitis when I was 8 months pregnant, which was horrific. Yeah, and that was the only thing that would help me. I'd apply breathe straight to my sinuses, and that's the only thing that could give me relief. Everything else just didn't work, and it just felt like it went on forever. But yeah, so it's very, very good for that. It's also great for anxiety. If you're having a panic attack, or you have a moment where you can't breathe because of grief or because of anything like that, you can, as we did earlier with the oils, you can put a drop in your hands and you can breathe like that, and it really, really helps to open your airways and actually allow you to breathe. So it's a very, very good one for that. Other ways you can use it. You can also use it. I mean, I'm just trying to see if there's anything else I've forgotten. Yeah, snoring. I didn't realise this until about a few months ago, and I told my mum, because my mum's a terrible snorer. Hope she won't mind me saying. And she's tried everything. She tried like sleeping pillows, snoring teas, all that sort of thing. And I said, oh, just try a drop of your breathe on each cheek. And she was like, oh, okay, fine. And then it worked. And my dad is over the moon. So there's no more snoring going on there. So it's a really, really good one for snoring. Yeah, so I was very happy about that. And then, I mean, the other thing, obviously, for using it for colds and coughs and that sort of thing, there are other things out there. There's things like Vicks you might use on your children's feet, or Olbasoil, but they're not 100% natural. A lot of them have got petroleum in them, which actually is a toxin to the body. So using this is really nice to know that it is 100% natural, and it's so, so effective. I love breathe. I use it all the time in the winter. Anytime they've got colds, I just straight in the diffuser. Done. Right, Zengest. This is the digestive blend. Again, this is very fast acting. This is a great one to give to someone as a sample because it works so very quickly. It's basically for anything digestive. If it just brings whatever's going on, it just brings the gut back into balance. So you could have constipation or diarrhea. You could have IBS or bloating or gas or acid, whatever you have, it will bring it back into balance, and it's very, very effective. I actually randomly, I used this on Christmas Day. I was eating and my eyes were clearly much bigger than my stomach. I took this huge plate of food and it was so delicious. I wanted to carry on eating, but I felt so full, and I thought, oh, I'm going to try this. So I put a drop in water and I had a sip, and I had about half a glass of water, and suddenly I literally felt like I could eat the rest of my food. It's probably not a good thing, but it was amazing. But it's great if you've had a takeaway and you feel really full, and have a drop. It really does help to kind of release, I think it's the gas or whatever it is, but it really, really helps support your tummy. Also great if you have a child who kind of says, oh, mommy, I feel a bit worried, or if you're feeling worried, you can apply some onto their tummy. Obviously the easiest way to take it is in water for adults, but if you take it if you have it like if a child was worried, you would rub it on their tummy, and then they would basically have it would help them to kind of calm down and feel a bit better. And then the other way you can use it also, yeah, as I said, is a drop in water. So that's great for IBS and things like that. It's really, really good. And yes, so that's Digest then. The next one, right, this is another one of the blends, which is On Guard. Now this is one I use the most. It's amazing. It smells like Christmas, if you haven't got it already. If you haven't already smelt it, oh, so nice. So this one has, if it's on here, maybe it's not. Oh, it does, sorry. So it's got orange, clove, cinnamon, eucalyptus and rosemary, and so it's a highly protective blend, and basically it has this is the one to diffuse in the air, so this will kill airborne pathogens, and it actually is known to kill the MRSA virus, which is amazing. So it's a great one to diffuse in your house in winter. It's basically seasonal defense in your house. I also make a roller ball and I apply it to my children's feet. If they're coming down with something, or if they're feeling off, I think they might be getting something. Sorry, that's my daughter, but my partner's gone into her. Sorry about the noise. Yeah, but you can also use it in cleaning. So this is another one I use in my sprays. I put this with a bit of vinegar and some water, and it's great to spray everywhere, because it kills all the bacteria, and it smells really nice as well. But you can also make a spray to carry with you that you can. I went to a festival in the summer, and there were toilets, but there were no hand washing facilities. So after my children had been to the loo, I just got my spray out and sprayed. I just had one drop of On Guard in water on a spray, and I just sprayed their hands. So that's killed any bacteria. So it's a real must for people that have kids, I think. Great for sore throat as well. You can gargle it. If you feel like it's coming on, just put a drop in water. It's quite strong, but it's fine because you know it's working. And you can also, sometimes if I've got sore throat, I apply it to the outside of my throat and to my to here as well, to my glands. So it's very, very effective. And obviously also to your feet. If you're feeling a bit under the weather, just put it on your feet. That's what I do. And yeah, that's pretty much most of the ways I use it. I mean, it smells amazing. I've got so many people that just diffuse it in their house because of the smell. It's really, really lovely. Right, so the last oil, I've saved the best for last. This is frankincense. Frankincense, you've probably heard of it already. Oh, it smells amazing. It is the king of all oils, and it's probably one of the most well-known oils. I mean, it dates back to the kind of pre-Bible, isn't it? And it for good reason. They say if in doubt, use frankincense, because it has so many benefits. There's so many different ways you can use it, and obviously with these oils, there are many different ways, and obviously you need to definitely have a look at the different options, because I've explained a few bits, but it can be used for so many things. Now, frankincense got a tiny molecule in it that can actually cross the blood-brain barrier, and so it makes it amazing at treating anything brain related, so brain disease, so Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, brain fog, all those sort of things. Really, really good for anything like that. Also great if you've got a headache, you can put a drop on your thumb and just put that up in the top of your mouth. And it's a very, very prized oil, the frankincense, and it does have a they choose doTERRA's frankincense. They only accept the finest resin that possible, that you can, so they don't, anything else that isn't the top, they will actually sell off to the perfume industry. So that's why it's quite an expensive oil as well, to do with their sourcing. The way they source it, it does cost quite a lot, because you need also a lot of frankincense to make the oil. Other ways you can use it, very good for skin. It's a beautifying oil, because basically what it does, it regenerates cells. So it reminds your cells how to be perfect. So obviously we have to be very careful about what claims we make with these oils, but I definitely encourage you to do some research. Have a look online, have a look on PubMed, because there's lots of studies that link frankincense with cancer. And one of those reasons is because of what it does to your cells. If there's a cell that's not functioning properly, it actually causes apoptosis of the cell, which is a cell death. And then a new cell, obviously it helps build new cells as well. So it's very, very good for regeneration. And obviously that's great for fine lines and wrinkles. So it's a beautifying oil. You can mix it. I mix it with lavender and put it on my skin at night. So it's a really, really good one. But also it's diffused. A lot of my friends who do yoga, they diffuse it in their sessions. It's really, really nice one. And also it's great it's kind of a spiritual oil. There's many ways you can use it to kind of help with mindfulness and that sort of thing. So it's a really, really good one to use, frankincense. Another thing you can also, it's very, very good to use at birth. You can put it on the top of the crown of the baby's head, and it's kind of told to known to kind of bring the baby in, if that makes sense. And also it's another one you can actually use it at the end of life as well. It's a very comforting oil to help with someone passing. So there's just so many different ways, and obviously there's lots and lots to look up with frankincense. Right, so that is the end of the 10 oils that I'm going to talk about. And so if any of you are interested in the oils at all, and interested in potentially buying some, I will just briefly explain a little bit about how it works with doTERRA. There's basically 3 ways to buy the oils. And the first way is retail, which isn't that popular really, because basically what happens is you pay 25% more, and you don't get any support with the oil. So you would just have a bottle of whatever you wanted, and that was it. You wouldn't know anymore. The second way, I mean, the first way isn't very popular, to be honest, but the second way is to become what they call a wholesale customer, which basically gives you 25% off all the oils that you buy now and in the future. And it's basically you get your own online account. So you can post all your orders that you want to do online. The first order comes through me, but then everything else you can do yourself in your own time. There's no obligation to buy anything else again. There are some really, really good systems if you do want to buy more oils. There's some great like places or ways to earn points. I'll talk about that in a minute. And get money back for the oils you're buying. But there's absolutely no obligation at all. Your account is for a year. So you get 25% off for a year, and then after a year it costs £15 to renew, but then you get a free peppermint oil, which is worth I think £17. So you're actually getting a free oil or not paying for it. So it's £24 to become a wholesale member. And you basically, you also get lots of other things. There's some great benefits. For example, you get lots and lots of support. So you get an hour wellness consultation with me, either in person if you're local to me, or online, probably via Zoom like this. And so we basically go through all your oils, and we go through your ailments, and we basically make a health and wellness plan for you. And so that's a really, really good way, because we want you to kind of know what to do with the oils. It's not a case of, oh, here are your oils, buy. It's a case of, look, how can you use them the best way? And there's so much access to different things like continuing education classes and things like that. So if you want to learn about oils in cooking, or oils for cleaning, or oils for babies, or for birth, or anything like that, there's all these continued education classes available for members, and they're so interesting, because once you start finding things out, you're like, wow, it's amazing. So yeah, there's also Facebook groups we'll add you to, so you can go in and ask questions, and you can get support with your oils as well. It's really good. And so the third way, which is the most popular way, is actually buying the oils as part of a kit. So the 10 oils I spoke about tonight make up two of our most popular kits, the Home Essentials and the Family Essentials. And they basically, the oils are massively discounted if you buy them as part of a kit. And a kit gives you a free membership, so you're saving that £24. So you get all the benefits of the membership as well, obviously, and you get money off. And some of them, one of them even comes with a free diffuser as well. So I'll briefly show you. Here we go. So this is the Family Essentials kit. So this is the 10 oils I spoke about tonight, in 5ml bottles. And you also get a free Slim and Sassy, which I haven't spoken about. This is the metabolic blend, so really good for weight loss, for speeding up your metabolism. It tastes amazing as well. You can have a drop in water every day, so that's a really good one for kind of also boosting your immune system and helping with digestion. So that comes free with that one. So that's Family Essentials. And then this is the Home Essentials kit. Which is the same 10 oils we spoke about tonight, but in the 15ml bottles. So let me show you. This is the difference in size. So this is the 15ml, and this is the 5ml. So you get an idea of the difference in size. So you basically get 3 times more oil in this, in the bigger bottles. So yeah, so you get the 10 oils, and you get a free diffuser as well. The same diffuser as mine. It's called the Petal. It's really good. And this month, until the 15th of January, you actually get a free frankincense, another free frankincense, which is amazing, because it's something like, I think it's £57 if you buy it by itself. So that comes free. So you'll get 2 frankincense, which is lovely. That was a Christmas offer that they've extended just for 2 weeks. Right. So just to mention, obviously I did mention this before, that the doTERRA oils are slightly more expensive than other oils you would find on the high street, but hopefully you've kind of been understanding what the difference is. And it's one of those things that if you feel you can't afford it, then just save up. Don't spend your money on cheap rubbish that doesn't work and that is actually quite bad for you. Just save up until you can do the real thing, because they really are worth it. They're worth every penny. So it's really good to know that. Right, so this is basically just what I've just been talking about just now, and it explains it in slightly more detail. These are the kits. So here are the prices. The wholesale membership is £24. Obviously, for you, for anyone in America, they will be different, and I'm happy to send you an American price list and all the details in the US dollars. And same for Australia as well, if you need it. Anyway, so that's the family physician kit. And then there's the home essentials kit, which I've spoken about. There's also the family wellness kit, which includes the supplements that I spoke about, also an On Guard. I didn't mention this, but On Guard do lots of different products because it's been so popular. They do a hand wash, they do even do a laundry detergent, they do a toothpaste, and they do On Guard capsules that can kind of help you in this season. So yeah, there's lots and lots of different things you get in that one. There's a cleanse and restore, which a lot of people are doing in January now, which is basically a thing just to completely give you a cleanse. Again, most of these I can explain to you in more detail afterwards, because we can just go through that there. Right, so now, okay, so what I'll do after the class, I will, if I haven't already got your email, please could you leave me your email or just message me with your email, because I'm going to send you some details. I'll send you a brief little info about the 10 oils we spoke about tonight, so you've kind of got that at home. So you know kind of what lavender does and peppermint does, and you've got a little thing. It's quite nice to know, because obviously it's a lot of information to take in. But I'll also send you a link to an online feedback form, which basically just to ask you kind of a bit about how you found the class. And also on here, and also obviously classes in the future that you might be interested in, because I am going to be running other online classes, excuse me, about other subjects as well. So you might find that there's something that interests you. The other thing, I mean, basically within doTERRA, 85% of the people within doTERRA are customers. They've got an amazing product, and they have, most of the people are people that use oils, and they love them, and they come back and they rebuy and blah, blah, blah. But there's another 15% that's made up of sharers and also builders, that we call them, so people doing the business. So the sharers, basically at the bottom of you'll see in the feedback form, there's an option to host a class. Now this is something, I mean, you might have been listening today and thinking, oh, hang on, I've got a friend who could do with that, or I've got an aunt who would like to know about this, or that could be great for my husband, or whatever, all these sort of things. And what a lot of people quite like to do is to host a class. And what this means is I come to you and I basically do what I did tonight, but obviously a live version. And I bring food with the oils in, so maybe raw chocolates and maybe fizzy water with one of the oils in, like yummy drinks and snacks. And I present a class to your family and friends, and it's completely free. All you need to do is get about 8 people together, 8 to 10 people, and provide the venue, and I will do everything else. So it's actually a really fun evening, and you learn loads. A lot of people do that, and then that gives you the chance. With that, I then offer the host a free gift. So if you've got your oils already, maybe a box or a keychain or something like that, or another oil, something like that. And then if you want to do that a few times, you get the option to become a sharer, which you can choose at your own pace. You can do a couple of classes, and then you can actually earn back some money to pay for your oils. So some people choose to do that just to kind of, they want to make the money back for what they're spending on their oils. But also so yeah, let me know if you're interested in hosting a class, in hosting a class, because I'd love to come and do one. And then there's a box below that in the feedback form, which is about the business. Now, obviously, as I said, most of the people are in doTERRA are customers, but there's an amazing business side as well. So more than happy to talk to you about that. I actually will carry on in a minute. We'll do Q&A. We'll just have some questions. And then after that, for those of you who want to know a bit more about the business, I will stay on and I'll do kind of a literally 10-minute little thing about the business, and just to give you some more information. So feel free to stay on if you'd like to know. If you wouldn't like to know, I won't be offended. You can go. It's been quite a long class anyway. So yes. So what I'll do now, I will let's have a look here. Okay, I will just I'll just stop the share for a minute, and I will put it on I'll unmute you guys, and then you can, if anyone's got any questions, please go ahead and ask me. I'm ready.
Thank you. How do I find out about ones that I buy on the high street, whether they've got pesticides or whatever in them?
Yeah, that's the difficult thing. There's actually no regulation, and that's kind of what DōTERRA were completely fed up with. So there is no testing. There's no testing at all, so you would never know, unfortunately. And that's obviously why they've put themselves at the kind of the top of the market, why they are the biggest essential oil company as well, because they do actually are very transparent with it, and they do test. They have actually invited some of the other top essential oil companies to use their testing facilities. But the essential oil companies have declined that, because obviously they know it's not going to shed them in a good light.
Okay.
So unfortunately, it is a case of you kind of get what you pay for. But so that's quite difficult to know. There is no way, unfortunately. There's no way of knowing. But that's obviously why DōTERRA is going to these lengths, just because there is nothing. So sorry, that's not very helpful.